All right, example 1. Kevin had 50 nickels and dimes whose value is $4. How many of each kind of coin did he have? If you recall, on Monday I was warning you these problems were coming up. We're here. The subscript to variable problems happen, and these problems happen. The thing to remember about coin problems, and in that whole sense of problem, a value problem where things have worth, is you have to set up unknowns in two types. So we're going to have a number and a value variable. And the number represents the letters that we're going to use to represent the things we don't know, and the value represents how much those things are worth. All right, so in this case we have nickels and dimes. That's what I'm going to put as my unknowns. Nickels, dimes. And for nickels I'm going to put N and D for dimes to represent how many we have. Okay, all I'm doing there is I'm inventing an answer. All right, how many nickels does Kevin have? He has N nickels. How many dimes does he have? He has D dimes. Okay, so I don't know what N or D equals, but at least I have an answer to the question. That's the purpose of that, of setting those unknowns up. Every nickel is worth 5 cents. Now when you get to the value, be very, very cautious that you establish what unit of currency we're using on the value, because sometimes units of currency don't match. We'll have to do a little bit of conversion. All right, every nickel is worth 5 cents, and we have N of them, so 5 times N represents how much money we have in nickels. For example, if Kevin has 2 nickels, 5 times 2 is equal to 10 cents. Kevin has 4 nickels, 5 times 4 equals 20 cents. He has N nickels, so 5 times N equals how many cents in nickels he has. Same argument for dimes. He has D dimes. Every dime is worth 10 cents, so 10 times D represents how much money he has in dimes in cents. Okay, so looking at these 4 unknowns, again, I don't know what they represent. They equal yet, but I know what they represent. N is how many nickels he has. D is how many dimes he has. 5N cents is how much the nickels are worth. 10D cents is how much the dimes are worth. Get a feel for what those mean and the purpose for what they are. So when you go looking at the word problem and starting to look at facts, such as he had 50 nickels and dimes, that represents how many nickels and dimes he has, right? So we go to the how many variables to represent an equation for that. So I take how many nickels he has plus how many dimes he has equals how many coins he has. Okay? So when you go to create an equation, should I use the number of thing variables or the value of things variables? That's the decision you have to make. This represents how many nickels and dimes. We go to the number because that represents how many nickels and dimes. And it says very clearly here, value is $4. Now $4 does not match cents.
400.
Very good. So $4, as Braden said, is equivalent to 400 cents. Luckily we live in a world in the United States where our currency works like that.
Yes.
$1 is 100 pennies. All right, so very easy conversion here. So I know the value of all the coins is $4, which is 400 cents. So the value of all the nickels plus the value of all the dimes is equal to the value of all the coins. Again, on any value equation, make sure that the unit of currency for this and this and this all match. Now, one thing that happens quite frequently in a coin problem, because nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars, dollars, they all divide by 5. Dollars and half dollars and quarters all divide by 25. All right, so this value equation quite often can be reduced. So I'm going to keep N plus D equals 50. I'm going to divide everything in this equation by 5. It gets me 1N plus 2D equals 80. Okay. It is always an easier system of equations if you do that division. So I recommend doing it every time. It's not a required step, but anytime you can make numbers smaller and keep the answer the same, it's worth doing. So finally, I'm going to get rid of N, because I notice N and N, they're the same. I need to make one of them different, so I'm going to change the equation on top to minus N, minus D, and minus 50. Be careful, if you change one thing, you change all things. All right? Most common mistake in a system of equations is that we change a couple of these, we forgot to change the constant, something like that. So be careful that everything changes. Negative N plus N cancels. Negative D plus 2D makes 1D. Negative 50 plus 80 makes 30.
Are they both set? Oh,
Are they both what? Okay, so D equals 30 dimes. And then if we go back to this fact, we know there's 50 coins, right? So if there's 30 dimes, there's obviously going to be 20 nickels to get both of our answers. How many of each kind of coin did he have? We figured it out. Now, This is a very easily checked problem. We have two facts that are both supposed to be met here, right? Fact number one, there's supposed to be 50 coins. 30 plus 20 makes 50. Fact number two, it's supposed to be worth $4. 30 dimes times 10 cents is equal to $3. Right? And 20 nickels times 5 cents is equal to $1. Add those up to get $4. So we have the correct amount of money, we have the correct number of coins, that's the correct answer. Right? If you get to a test, you get a problem like this, and you just completely space it off. Like, I can't remember how to do any of this. Guess and check. Make the right number of coins. I think there's 20 nickels and 30 dimes. Is it the right amount of money, yes or no? No. It's too less, or too little in that case, so guess more dimes, fewer nickels. And do a little guess and check, you get the answer. Get the algebra under control at some point, but again, on a test, fallback method is guess and check on these. Later in this class this year, we're going to do 3 types of coins to make a system of 3 equations with 3 unknowns, and that is a little bit more challenging, and it is going to be done with the algebra method. Guess and check on that takes forever. It just does. It's hard to do guess and check because you don't know which coin to modify, and if you know exactly what the right answer is for one, then it's fine, but if you have to monkey with all 3 numbers, it's really tough to do it. So you want to get the algebra under control as soon as possible, but again, fall back for a first or second test question like this. Guess and check works. Make sure the algebra makes sense very, very shortly. Practice it in homework, understand it, think through processes, think about what things represent as you're doing it.